Mayor Lenz, we're counting down. 10, 9,
For the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Ingrid, roll call, please.
there are no requests under roll call item A. I'll now proceed with a roll call. Councilmember Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Kern.
Here.
Councilmember Mackin.
Here.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Here.
Mayor Lenz.
Here. All right, report out of closed session, please.
Yes, Mayor Lenz. The council met in closed session beginning at 6:30. There were two liability claims on the agenda, D and E. Both were rejected by the council, denied by the council. There were two other items, F, conference with real property negotiator. The city manager was given direction coming out of that. The second, G, also a conference with real property negotiator. Staff was given direction coming out of that.
All right, thank you, Tom. All right, I'll take a first and a second to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Okay, I have a first and a,
Second.
okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Kern.
Aye.
Councilmember Mackin.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
And Mayor Lenz.
Aye. All right. So up next is awards and presentation. We have a special one tonight. We have former Mayor Sepi Wood, who is going to come to the podium and provide something very special to the city.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me. I'm going to try to see if I can put it in such a way that you all can see. Can you see it at all?
We can see it.
Can you see it very much? First, I wanted to thank, hello, Mr. Mayor, Council Member, and Colleen, and congratulations for your election. And Terry's at home. And again, thank you all of you for all your support for all these years. About 2 years ago or so, I had a couple of bad falls on my both shoulders. Now I have a titanium arm and frozen shoulder. But the reason I'm even bringing it is because it was so hard to go through the steps and so forth. I had broken foot too at the same time. So my husband and I decided to sell the home and move somewhere that was easy to live. And we found this place in San Francisco on Sansom and Lombard Street, right across from the Pier 27, wonderful area, very secure. But what was so interesting that in 2011, I was the mayor, and I took a trip to visit Brisbane, Australia. And one of the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco, remember Maxine? I forgot her name, but Maxine was also going for water conference to Sydney. I said, oh, you can definitely join me. I'm having the hotel, you might as well come, but at the last minute things happened, didn't happen. But whatever, went to Brisbane, Australia, and had made arrangement with all the staff in Australia to visit the Lord Mayor and different cities. And one of the wonderful things that happened, I met with the Honorable Mayor Campbell Newman, our sister city in Brisbane, and a very remarkable gentleman, beautiful staff. By the time I got there, he had made staff presentations from police department, from public works, from technology, from all around. They had made arrangement to make presentations and had a beautiful drive of the city, and how much he has heard about how wonderful our sister city, we as a Brisbane are, and how much their relationship, how much they have enjoyed all these years of relationship. And he hoped that one day he would be present. And I remember going through the freeways, I fell in love with the signs. Their sign is blue, like us. Our street signs are blue, and they're colorful. Hopefully, maybe we would have our street signs, big sign. I tried to work with the Caltrain to have a big sign for the Brisbane exit. He said, as long as you're that little, you're not going to have the sign. So they didn't do it. But I was so impressed with the sign. I said, I would love to have one of those. So, okay, said it, came back home. And about a few months later, I got this long, and you have the big package that this sign came through. I was very emotional. I was taken that they were so wonderful too. That tells you about people from Brisbane. Just like us. Even though they're a big community, they're beautiful. I get emotional. Even though they're a big city, reminded me of Brisbane, the heart of Brisbane. People love one another, want to help out. It's a community. And I came back and I opened that. It was a gift of Brisbane. And I said, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it right on the top of the garage. Okay, install it. Just Brisbane. It's a different symbol, but maybe I could put the Brisbane symbol on the other side of it. But things didn't happen or whatever, and I forgot, honestly. And it sat in my garage. So when I had to leave and went, and I saw this, and I said, well, maybe somebody in Brisbane would like to have this. And again, didn't follow up, and it was meant for me to be here and to present this from our sister city, the beautiful sisters that they're really involved, and I hope to God we would have more relationship, more presence, because it would be, I think it's a shame for us to be 4 years or whatever, 10 years in the council and not to have that kind of a visit to renew. They have beautiful things that we could definitely incorporate in our life. And I would tell you something that really bothered me. And what happened is I had donated on a wall here, and whoever donated, they got a star. Well, somebody, whether playing with it or whatever, broke my star. So the star is broken or whatever. And I remember when we opened this building, they said that, the council that was present at that time would have their names, whatever, on the door. And I was one of the people that was extremely instrumental to have Brisbane Pool. I remember from day one I came in, that was my agenda to accomplish it. And within the first year, that became the first item of project on the top of the line that we wanted to have Brisbane Pool. So Brisbane Pool, again, the opening day was in such a time that I was not at the council. And again, there is no mention of my name. I've served here 15, 16 years. Even though I've moved from Brisbane, I'm still a Brisbaneite. I still come here, visit my friends, come to the Chinese restaurant, go to hair here. I am a Brisbaneite, just happened that for my lifestyle, I had to move. I'm with you guys, with every one of you, and I want to present this to all of you to put it in a very respectful, very visible place, and I'd like to have a credit for this gift, even though it was a gift for me, but a mention of my name. So when I'm dead and gone, I would have my name in the much-loved city that I have had. So that's my presentation.
That is such a wonderful gift, Sepi, and we'll find a special place for it.
Thank you.
And thank you for the wonderful story, too.
Maybe
because
at the pool.
That needs to go with the sign.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Sepi.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you
You know,
very
how about this? Let's do a photo with Sepi in the sign. And Frank, you're the
Good idea.
strongest. You should probably carry that thing.
Is it heavy?
I don't know. I'm just.
Oh, okay. She's very serious.
Okay, there we go.
Come here. You wanna come here?
Oh, it's double-sided.
Yeah. Okay, you got it, Holly.
It's a very.
All right, well,
Very
well,
serious.
yeah, come on.
Do I need to come here? Or you want to come?
Yeah, well, you know, you come on up here.
You sure you don't want me
Abso-
too far?
No, no. Tom.
Maybe
no,
Sepi should be in the middle of that.
Let me pick.
Yes, no. Let's get Sepi in the middle. I'll be on your side.
Okay.
I can claim the shortest should be in the
There you
middle
go.
because I'm the shortest. So
Ah.
right in here. Oh, this is wonderful.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. And Ingrid for the city. Okay, great.
Okay, hold on, Terry. We gotta get.
One, smile, Terry. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Sepi.
Okay. All right, so now we're moving on to oral communications. This is an opportunity for anyone who wants to speak before the council on an item that's not on our agenda tonight. So we have any takers? Paula, I know that I got your slip here, so why don't you come on up?
Presentation to follow there.
Yeah, it is a tough one. But I'm sure
But
you'll
I'm
manage.
here with some fun. You hear me okay?
Good.
All right. Good evening, esteemed council and fellow community members. For those that don't know me, Napalo Gomez, been here for a while in beautiful city of Brisbane. I'm here representing HIP Housing as a board member, and I've done this now a few years. This is our calendar for 2025. So I wanted to present that to the council. We've got some extra ones over there, and I've just got a short little blurb here on HIP Housing, just to help folks know what we're doing. So since 1972, HIP Housing has been working to provide affordable housing solutions here in the county of San Mateo. Been doing a lot of work across the county, and it's very fulfilling. The interesting piece for you all is that HIP Housing is dedicated to providing affordable housing for all San Mateo County residents, and it's listed in all 21 housing elements in San Mateo County, including here in the city of Brisbane. Last year, collectively, we served 3,900 individuals across the county, providing housing for 750 low-income households. Here, specifically in the city of Brisbane, we served 18 residents, so that's excellent. We want to keep increasing that. We had 8 individuals who also applied for our home sharing program and 5 for our new housing readiness program. So there are multiple programs offered through HIP Housing that can help members of our community, and also if you have family members, loved ones, friends across the county, there are services that can help folks. So on behalf of HIP Housing, I just want to thank you, Mayor, and the council for your ongoing support for HIP Housing. And I really would also just like to put out a plug. All of the art in here is from children across the county. I'd love to see more participation in the northern part of the county. We tend to see a good concentration, Redwood City, San Mateo area and the surrounding cities, but we've got an opportunity. And there's some really nice art in here. Personally, I'm a sweets guy, so I like the Home Sweet Home, December, but I encourage you to check it out, put it up on your walls, and check out HIP Housing.
Yeah.
All right?
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Apollo.
Yeah, you're most
And
welcome.
yeah, HIP Housing is an awesome organization, and it's great to see that Brisbane homeowners are taking advantage of that and bringing in folks who need housing and providing some companionship
Yeah,
for those that are living in their homes.
Yeah, and if anybody has any interest in wanting to know more, they can always reach out to me.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
great
easy to get a hold of.
organization.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah.
All right, Apollo, take care.
Yeah.
Thank you for serving. All right, anyone else under oral communications? Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to the consent calendar. City Manager Dennis has item D that he would like to pull. Any other council members want to pull any items for further discussion? Okay, well then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar minus item D.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Kern,
Aye.
Councilmember Mackin,
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell, and Mayor Lenz.
Aye. All right, thank you, everyone. Mr. Dennis.
Thank you, Mayor Lenz, members of the council. I wanted to pull this item briefly just to let you know that the next time you see this report is going to look a little different. Caroline and I have been working on a variety of ways to present information to the council, refreshing what we have, new items. And this is one area we wanted to do something a little different. So next time you see it, it will include some additional information. It will have a month to month and a year to year, so you can better track how our investments are doing. But you'll see those kinds of improvements throughout all of the various reports you see and that the public sees. But just wanted to let you know, as a good plug for the great staff work that's going on, and just a reminder of some of the changes coming. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Jeremy. All right, so I need a motion to approve item D.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Kern,
Aye.
Councilmember Mackin,
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell,
Aye.
and Mayor Lenz.
Aye. All right, thank you. All right, so I'll move on to new business, and I'm glad that former Mayor Cunningham is in the house because she was very influential in making this happen. So, age-friendly action plan update. So, Nicole.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. My name is Nicole Houghton, and I'm a recreation supervisor with the city. It has been my privilege to be the lead staff representative on this project. In late 2022, Ann O'Brien Keegren, a representative from the Center for Age-Friendly Excellence, also known as CAFE, who is also here with us tonight, reached out to the city manager about the possibility of joining the World Health Organization network of age-friendly cities. In early 2023, the City Council affirmed their support for the effort and directed staff to draft the application. In June 2023, a resolution from the City Council authorized the city's participation in the Age-Friendly Communities Network, and shortly after, the city received confirmation of its designation as an age-friendly city. Anne and Cynthia are here from the CAFE, Center for Age-Friendly Excellence, and are here tonight to provide an update with where we're at in the process and the work completed leading up to the action plan. For some context, the Age-Friendly Action Plan is a comprehensive overview of feedback received and a wide range of proposed initiatives that will both preserve what is currently successful and also address areas identified as needing improvement. We look forward to hearing your comments and questions after the presentation. And before I welcome our speakers, I do want to show my appreciation to some of the task force members who are here in person with us tonight. So just real quickly, former council member Karen Cunningham, Catherine Gooding, Herman Rees, Karuna Forrest, Linda Seekins, and Library Branch Manager Carrie Mossing. And hopefully I'm not forgetting anyone, but thank you for being here in person with us tonight. I'd now like to welcome Cynthia Nakayama and Ann O'Brien Keegren from the Center for Age-Friendly Excellence to the podium.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Lenz, Mayor Pro Tempore Mackin, and council members. As Nicole mentioned, I'm Cynthia Nakayama from the Center for Age-Friendly Excellence, and I'm joined, as also mentioned, by my esteemed colleague, Ann O'Brien Keegren. We have certainly enjoyed working with your city and staff on the Age-Friendly Action Plan. And we especially appreciate all that Nicole Houghton and also the former mayor Karen Cunningham and all the excellent task force members have contributed. We also want to recognize Supervisor David Canepa's part in this. He is instrumental in having this happen because of the contract and partnership we've had with the county because of him. We understand that you have a copy of the action plan. So this is our PowerPoint presentation about the plan and also some background. Brisbane first became age-friendly certified in 2023, and they have now taken the next step forward in creating their action plan. Oh, am I doing this wrong? Many years ago, the World Health Organization looked around and they realized that the aging population was growing at an exponential rate. So they decided to do a study on the unmet needs of older adults. Based on this study, they created the global network of age-friendly cities and communities and established it in 2010. This network now includes over 1,700 towns across 60 countries, encompassing over 330 million people worldwide. It serves as a platform for the cities to share best practices, to learn from each other's experiences, as well as to collaborate in order to innovate solutions for an aging population. You may already be familiar with the age-friendly domains. There are 8 of them that came out of the study. These are, and I won't go into detail on each one, but they're outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, housing, social participation, which covers the isolation portion, communication and information, respect and social inclusion, civic participation and employment, and community support and health services. There is an overlap among all of these domains. If there's an improvement in one domain, it often affects at least one other. A clear example of this is transportation. When an older adult has transportation available to them, they can get to their activities and programs, which falls under social participation. Also, they can go to their medical appointments, and that is community support and health services. The Age-Friendly Action Plan is a 5-year document that is all about information gathering and assessment for your city. It serves as a roadmap for Brisbane to develop their initiatives that they want to have during their 5-year program in order to make the city a better place to grow old and to thrive. It includes the unmet needs as well as potential solutions for those unmet needs and the strategies during the cycle. A citywide AARP survey was also distributed to gather input from residents 55 and older. Some examples of where these were distributed are the city website, the weekly e-newsletter called The Blast, as well as A-frames around town, publicity at multiple farmers markets, on an electronic signboard, also announced at the senior lunches. Surveys were dropped off at Ridge and Mobile Home Park. It was included in the school newsletters as well as the Parks and Recs digital activity guide and also the Chamber of Commerce, the Luminary, also promoted at various city events. The survey was promoted from September 2023 to January 2024, and 152 surveys were collected, so there was a lot of work put into this. Also, AARP won't count the survey unless all the questions are answered. So that's a big pressure on getting the surveys completed. In order to compile the report, we utilized information from the focus groups from 2023 as well as the town hall that was held in 2024. Focus groups were generally older adults over 55 years old. We also had one with ethnically diverse older adults as well as one with the mobile park. In addition, we collected additional information from the task force groups in both years. We asked 3 questions of all of the groups. One was, what is your greatest strength in your community in these 8 domains that were mentioned before? Second, what are the unmet needs in these 8 domains? And third, what potential projects do you recommend? What would be beneficial to address these needs? We also asked the same question regarding an additional category, emergency services. This was partially due to the increasingly frequent disasters that have occurred. Information was also gathered from the 152 AARP surveys. And from all of this information, we created a project spreadsheet, which is in Appendix A of the action plan. The spreadsheet is too big to include in the action plan, so we gave you a link. And from this project spreadsheet, the task force initially wanted a few projects, and we did incorporate them into the plan. Although the appendix does include all of the projects, but that does not mean that you need to implement all of them. We just wanted to offer you a wide array of choices over the years. So this is just more about the different people that were involved in these focus groups. During the age-friendly certification process, Brisbane needed to identify specific initiatives that could be implemented, and your city did implement some of the suggestions. An age-friendly community corner was developed on the age-friendly website, as well as increased dissemination of resources that would benefit older adults in the city, that include the Help at Home guide, as well as the community information handbook by the county, medical equipment loan program, and others that are listed on this slide. Also, Brisbane City Council allotted $12,000 in funding to allow additional residents to participate in the Got Wheels transportation program under the Peninsula Family Services. This is wonderful. Transportation has been one of the top priorities among all of the focus groups. The action plan is just a framework and a roadmap to allow the city to continually assess and improve the progress in each domain. It is a static document and it constantly evolves. It is not set in stone like a master plan, so you have all the flexibility that you need with this document. We also wanted to mention that we did interviews with different staff in various departments regarding the projects they had done that they felt were age-friendly. We also had them review our project spreadsheet and give us feedback. So all of their information is included in Appendix B of the action plan that you can read over. Thank you. I will now turn it over to Anne, who will talk about strategies.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. It's a pleasure to be in front of you this evening. So I will go on to the next slide. Perfect. As Cynthia mentioned, this action plan, you have to remember as you go through it, it's not mandatory, but they are suggestions from Cynthia, myself, and your focus groups and task force members and staff. And so we did keep in mind when we did put this plan together especially, you know, I have been in your seat before, 17 years on the Burlingame Council, so I understand how important it is to prioritize, that your staff can only do so much, as you also as council members. And then also, of course, finances. So that always has to be kept in mind. So we did kind of a wide variety of projects from kind of the low level, easy to obtain versus bigger projects that you might not look at, you know, 3 to 5 years from now. So I just want you to keep that in mind as we go through this. We only, you know, picked maybe one goal from each domain and a couple strategies, because if I went through this whole document, we could be here for hours and I wouldn't want to do that to you. So outdoor spaces and buildings, that was the first domain that we focused on. And the goal is to provide a safe, clean, accessible, inviting environment that promotes the well-being of older adults. And so some potential projects that we discussed was developing a map. In addition to surveying a variety of areas in the city that would benefit from additional benches, also chairs throughout the city. We thought that it may be useful to develop a senior subcommittee from the advisory board to work with the existing age-friendly task force to discuss and also research maybe more comfortable age-friendly furniture. So furniture that might have higher backing to the seats, and also, you know, a good backrest for support. You also want to make sure some of that furniture is located, of course, in shady areas, and then also maybe with canopies above it. A larger project would entail installing fitness equipment that is geared more toward older adults. And so what we've mentioned in the spreadsheet is China and Shanghai. They have a lot of different examples of combining kids' play equipment with older adult equipment. And so they found that their older adults that usually were grandparents watching the kids would still be able to exercise just like the children did. So it was beneficial for a wide variety of age groups. Also, there was discussion about adding additional community gardens that would encourage older adults to participate, but also our younger kids. And then pilot studies to determine if certain areas needed permit parking, because as with many cities, parking is a premium. And especially when you're increasing density of housing, it even becomes more so. The next domain, if I can change it somehow.
Bless you.
There we go. Was transportation. Of course, the goal was to improve mobility options for older adults. It's always essential to disseminate information regarding transportation. Of course, we've talked about the Got Wheels program, the San Mateo County Mobility Guide, which is in multiple languages, offering tech classes to assist older adults to use apps such as Uber and Lyft, and utilizing transportation options, of course, provided by Brisbane itself through Brisbane Village Helping Hands. We've actually mentioned that group to many of the other cities that we're working with, so they can call Brisbane and find out more on how Brisbane Helping Hands actually functions, because it's so beneficial to your community. Also want to consider other transportation options. One is potentially partnering with other cities that may have transportation issues. And, you know, shuttle service, as we know, is very expensive. Grants come and go. And so it may be beneficial to partner with others. Also, the possibility of providing a reimbursement transportation program. I just finished an action plan with Los Altos, and they have a ride care program. It's based on reimbursement. So if someone used, whether it's Uber, Lyft, public transportation, they would show their receipts and they would get reimbursed. And so they've set aside a certain amount of money from their general fund to carry that program. We have also included the link into the spreadsheet, so you can refer to that And it's also, I think, in the body of the action plan. And also, of course, enhancing traffic safety. Many cities have the same focus of, cars speeding and also rolling through stop signs. So being really aware of the bicyclists and pedestrians in the city. One way that can possibly be addressed is having volunteers survey the neighborhood and evaluate areas that may need speed bumps or additional signage. Next, we have housing. This does not want to cooperate with me. There we go. The goal, of course, is to provide resources and options for older adults to age in place and gather input from residents on future housing policies. We definitely want to educate the population in regards to housing options, and HIP was one of our suggestions. And also, is there a way to possibly work with the community to find out if there are people who want to rent their ADUs? And is there a way to publicize those ADUs so people can go on the website and see what is available? Also offering workshops on how to use the San Mateo County housing portal and help to educate homeowners on the process of building ADUs. And we know that's streamlined, but not everyone knows how to go through that process. And then, of course, encouraging older adults to engage in future housing policies. And if I know Brisbane did that when they were working on their housing element. The next domain, social participation. The goal is to provide affordable and accessible events, programs, activities, and opportunities for social interaction for all ages. We looked into expanding recreation department offerings to include a broader spectrum of programs and times that are available for people. We may want to consider surveying your community maybe every 3 years to see what programs are popular and working well. There might be some programs that aren't. And are there programs that might be missing that might be able to be incorporated for your constituency? Also expanding events that are held at the community park. Maybe introducing a community comedy night or battle of the bands, where you have a younger generation, your high schoolers and elementary school kids, paired up with your older adults and see which generation wins out. Also maybe having an evening trivia night or board game night. We definitely want cities to really encourage intergenerational programs. And part of the reason for that is for the younger generation to really understand the importance of the older generation and the wisdom that they possess. And also that the younger generation feels comfortable around older generation. And it benefits both. I know there's a lot that older adults can offer to our kids, but there's also a lot our kids can offer. And it's an opportunity also for our seniors to really understand what the younger generation is experiencing in our modern times. Next, we have communication and information. And the goal is to provide information about activities and resources that are available and accessible using a wider variety of venues and languages. I think Brisbane does a pretty good job with their communication of events and important information, but it's amazing still, and we see this in all the cities, the amount of people that still do not know what is going on in their own cities. And so, we usually do, the e-blasts and newsletters, but maybe dropping flyers off at coffee shops that older adults usually hang out at, or there may be certain parks that they hang out, or restaurants that they may go to dinner, or there may be places that they play cards or chess or whatever it may be, not the common, city hall, community center, senior center. Want to encourage the expansion of your teen tech program, where your teens are assisting seniors with tech questions through one-on-one appointments. Maybe they can do a workshop on a monthly basis where they have a group of seniors and not just one-on-one appointments. Also, to continue to explore the opportunity to implement televisits for medical appointments or any other appointments, whether it's a CPA or attorney. There are instances that, a family may have a medical issue, they're at home, but they don't necessarily want to do the televisit at home because their children may be around. So maybe at the community center or a library that they can actually have the opportunity to talk in private with the people they need to speak to. And then also just, getting more people involved with the city so they can spread information word of mouth. Usually that personal contact, that's when people remember things. People these days get so many emails that they junk a lot of it. But when you encourage people to talk with others, having ambassadors in your city that actually relay that information may be helpful. On to domain number 6, respect and social isolation. The goal is to have an inclusive environment that acknowledges and serves the diverse population you have in Brisbane. We want to promote age-friendly businesses, encourage senior discounts if possible, having menus in larger fonts, and ensure that staff are respectful and patient, whether it's staff at the city or staff that work at retail, restaurants, etc. We did learn today, and we will add this actually to your action plan. There is a resource, Age Inclusive Management Strategies. And this is actually a free resource for employers and HR professionals to learn about policies and programs that create a better working environment for older adults. We did not have it in this action plan currently, but actually found out about it today. So we will incorporate that into your action plan. Then also we want to be able to partner with schools to have maybe a senior day to talk about how youth can help older adults and have more seniors volunteering in the classrooms if possible. Want to continue working with the Youth Advisory Committee to set up programs that include older and young generations, such as game nights and intergenerational dinners. And then maybe also create a Adopt a Neighbor program. There are many people that are isolated in their homes and don't know their neighbors, or actually in present day, many neighbors don't know neighbors. I'm not exactly sure if that's really the case in Brisbane. I think you're one of the few cities that everyone seems to know everyone, which is a huge plus for your community. But when I say Adopt a Neighbor program, one of the cities, actually Burlingame, has started doing this, is developing a neighborhood directory where you have, of course, voluntary, where you have, the neighbors' names, telephone number, email, their profession. Because sometimes in an emergency, if you know you have a doctor and or nurse on the block or a fireman or someone has a backup generator, those things come in handy. And then having maybe a yearly or maybe quarterly a neighborhood get-together so that people get to know each other and actually talk to one another on a day-to-day basis. Next, we have civic participation and employment. The goal is to provide older adults opportunities for continued community engagement through volunteer roles or employment. We'd like to publicize, volunteer options, maybe in the Luminary, hold an annual volunteer fair where nonprofits, commissions, and committees and council members have tables with information and volunteer opportunities. We actually recently did this in Burlingame. It was amazing the amount of people that showed up to this. We actually had it at our new community center because many people had not been to the community center. But it gave them an opportunity to learn about what the council does, what commissioners do. We have some advisory groups. And so it gave them an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the city. And then we were lucky to have nonprofit organizations that were looking for volunteers. And so they were present and talked about their nonprofit and signed up volunteers on the spot to help out.
And what was that event called in Birmingham?
We called it a community volunteer fair.
Okay. The Burlingame Community Volunteer.
It was,
Fair.
we just did it for the first time just to kind of see how it would go, and actually was pretty successful. So we're hoping that, I'm not on the council anymore, but we're hoping that it will be done on a yearly basis. Next, we have the Domain 8, Community Support and Health Services. The goal is to provide services and programs that support the ability of the older generation to age in place with dignity. And a few things to keep in mind with this is increasing the awareness of all the resources that are available in San Mateo County. And a lot of that is held in the Help at Home Guide. We did work with Nicole, and she has been getting additional copies of that. It has almost every resource you can think of in San Mateo County. The Community Information Handbook. As previously mentioned, Cynthia mentioned the medical equipment loan. And then advertising these programs and the links to these guides through the Star newsletter and the Blast, and also having hard copies available for people who do not have internet or not sure how to utilize technology. So it was good to have these in the senior center, library, council, chambers, but also even, like I said, restaurants, retail, places that people visit. Finally, we have emergency services. It's an added domain that Center for Age-Friendly Excellence has added. If I can get to that slide. There we go. Oops. That has been a common theme with many of the cities that have brought up, especially now that we're, reading about all the fires that are happening, unfortunately, in the Los Angeles area. Of course, earthquakes, flooding. So we are suggesting that maybe you can work with the Youth Advisory Group and have once a year, have them help older adults sign in for SMC Alert and distributing emergency age-friendly resource page. I know there's one on your city website, but maybe the possibility of actually having your businesses volunteer to donate things that you need for an emergency and putting backpacks together or roller suitcases together for your older adult population that can be offered for free. You might want to do this, in the park, maybe once a year, and work with your police and fire department and just kind of make, a few hours on a Saturday or Sunday for people to go out and learn more about SMC Alert and also Genesis, formerly known as Zone Haven, so they understand which zone they are in case there is an evacuation. And then the appendices are mentioned up here. We have the spreadsheet with, I think, over 100 potential projects that you could implement. Totally up to you what you'd like to do. And then there's the current age-friendly practices. We did a little bit about the Brisbane history, city government, the demographic profile, the AARP livability index. And then, of course, acknowledgement to the task force members and staff that helped us throughout this process. I will say Cynthia and I really enjoyed working with your task force, your constituents, and your staff. They were very excited about this process, so it's nice to see a city that really wants to move forward and acknowledge their older population and want to be able to address issues with that age-friendly lens when making policy. So I thank you. And if you have any questions, Cynthia and I are here to answer them.
Well, that was great, Ann, and thank you, Cynthia. So I'll open it up to council questions. Councilmember Kern, put you on the spot there.
No questions here. I did go through the action plan, very thorough, very well thought through, and I did have an opportunity to take a look at the survey, which was very comprehensive. And so I think this is amazing work. So well done.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Councilmember Mackin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first want to congratulate you. This is amazing work, and thinking about years where this wasn't in place. It's hard to imagine because this is so forward thinking. But reading through this report, there were different things that you highlighted very clearly, areas for improvement and wonderful ideas. Just a couple comments. I think that when we talk about older adults, there are all kinds of assumptions that people make. And when we look at federal government talking about taking Social Security and moving it older, we're going to have more older adults still working. Yep. And we, in fact, just like any disparity in the population, not everybody's born the same. Not everybody has the same DNA. Some people have health problems earlier, some it's later, some are more cognitively still bright and active, and some are not. So we have different needs. And I often hear talk about older adults in one category, which is not appropriate. And so that's one thing I would hope to see, that we address those who have physical needs and those who have, let's say, emotional needs or recreational needs, that they could be very different.
Sure, it's a
depending
broad,
on
it's a broad
abilities.
spectrum, and that's why when we did
Yes.
the focus groups,
Yes.
we actually covered 50 and over and made sure we had representation of all ages. We had some in their 80s.
Right.
That are very active, and some that may not have been as active, because you're right, the needs are quite different, and we want to make sure that we're addressing as many issues and needs as possible,
Right.
whatever
And
those may be.
You really did so many good highlights. And for instance, outdoor recreation, and I understand benches, but how about some team sports? Honestly, there are seniors who would love to play against the younger kids, maybe, or just have their own sports going. But two things came up.
Pickleball league.
Pardon me?
Pickleball league.
I could think of lots of different sports. I think even young people would enjoy bocce ball. They just don't know much about it. Couple different things. When we talk about emergencies, and we've watched fires in LA, and one thing came about over and over, missing persons, were that there were people at home, they were older, they had a cell phone, they're saying to their friends, their relatives, I'm waiting, someone's supposed to come get me. But there was no one right there. And if there was some sort of a buddy system where someone didn't wait to be called, but absolutely checked in on someone to get them out of a place in an emergency, I think what's happened recently has just shown a big spotlight on the need there. Very, very big need.
And there might be a way to incorporate that in the neighborhood directory, when you have all the names and numbers and so forth, and those get-togethers, that hopefully, if you were in that, situation of evacuation, that somebody would say, oh, I noticed Mr. Smith is missing, let's go check in on him, or,
Right.
yeah.
And the big item, and this comes up over and over, and I hear it all the time from people in town as well, when we talk about seniors and housing. So we have senior housing. Get on the list and good luck. And when we talk about affordable housing, and Brisbane has its housing plan approved, and we all talk about affordable housing and HIP housing, but what's missing is affordable. Most seniors, older adults, even 55-year-olds are retiring. That's not uncommon these days. And when you look at the median income in San Mateo County being around 143 to 145,000, low income, you're at 78,000. And we're not addressing that in housing. And I would like to see your organization do more lobbying with our state and federal representatives, the Board of Supervisors, to recognize that while we encourage business in the Bay Area and we're trying to catch up on housing, we're not addressing senior housing. And that is distinctly different from affordable housing, because most affordable housing is unaffordable to seniors. And we can't just keep kicking that down the road. It's been 10 years we've been talking about housing. We see legislation, but nothing's being done.
Right, and the other, and point well taken, and the other thing that has come up is, it's easy for people to say, well, you're living in your houses. Well, people would love to downsize and be able to use that money for somewhere else. However, the way the property taxes are and your capital gains and so forth, it just makes it so difficult to actually have enough money then to be able to live in another place. And like you said, at the state and federal legislation, we need to be pushing that more.
And just a final comment. You mentioned a subcommittee to deal with issues. Your plan is updated every 5 years. A lot can happen in 5 years. And so I would like to see, we have a youth advisory committee. Why don't we have an older adult advisory committee? Because one thing that is really important, I took care of aging parents. And the worst that happens as you age, anybody, is losing your dignity and your self-determination. So when you have a whole bunch of young people making decisions for you, that's very hard for people to take. Why can't we have a committee in Brisbane to decide what their needs are? Not just surveys, but a group representing maybe somebody from Brisbane Village Helping Hands, from the senior club, different facets. Some that are very active, some that are not, and sit down and start developing annually what they want to happen and developing programs, and like the IDEA committee, doing their own outreach, which is kind of, that's important.
So good thing that you brought up. I have talked with Nicole, and we have actually suggested that you develop a senior advisory committee and or senior commission, just depends on how you want to work with the Brown Act.
Right.
And that you do quarterly updates looking at this action plan, and that there is a subcommittee also from that commission or advisory group that is a liaison to a liaison on the council. So there is that frequent communication. The 5-year process actually starts from the certification. Your action plan is a 3-year. And then after the 3-year, then you do an evaluation. There's not a set form. I've worked with AARP because we don't develop that. But they said you can do your own evaluation form, comparing it to your action plan, see what you've accomplished, see what you still want to work on. And then you can do it yearly after that. You can also then update your action plan again. Let's say yours goes from 25 to 28. Do a whole new action plan in 28. Things change, priorities change. So that's something to keep in mind, whether it's your staff that wants to do it, whether you want to hire somebody to do it, that's totally up to you. So, but that's what we have suggested to Nicole.
But I truly appreciate all the efforts you've done. You have absolutely created a monster of a wonderful organization that nobody was doing anything about this.
Thank you, appreciate
so
that.
thank you for all of it. And former mayor and council member Cunningham, I know was
She's
involved a
been
lot.
quite advantageous with us, and we have appreciated her hard work and the task force. And I will say your staff has been spectacular. Nicole, you know, we lost her from Burlingame. She came here, but it was nice to see her here. An asset to your
friends, yeah.
community. And I know that she has, you know, really believes in this document, and so we hope you do too, and that you are able to proceed forward with this document and it doesn't sit, you know, on a shelf.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And I'd like to give a call out also to Parks and Rec, because you're
Yes.
so instrumental in all these activities. It's really important. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Colleen, for those great words. Councilmember O'Connell, do you have anything that you would like to add? Any questions?
No, I think that it's a very comprehensive plan, and it looks like we need to work on some things, and that we'll get to it.
All right.
So thank you.
Councilmember Davis.
Colleen took the words out of my
She
mouth.
did.
And I definitely agree with the subcommittee and so many of the suggestions. Former Mayor Cunningham served on the Public Art Commission with me, and something that we talked a lot about there was how we could bring benches throughout Brisbane, but partnering up with the Public Art Commission to use public art money to fund benches of all different styles, or how we could even gain sponsorships from local businesses as well to help fund that. And not only could we have benches, but they could be designed in a way that was truly stunning and works of art within our community that would attract people to want to sit and want to enjoy outdoor spaces and hang out and just kind of be at rest. And so it's interesting to see how her involvement with this is kind of starting to integrate in all these other areas of city resources, and how to utilize this document to think creatively about solutions to some of the areas that you pointed out. So I'm excited to see how this will evolve over time and how we'll take this document and really own it and make it our own and customize the solutions and try to think as out of the box as possible. And, you know, thank you so much for your work for Park and Rec. And then, of course, Councilmember Cunningham, who I know spent so much time in the task force, spent so much time. And if I'm not mistaken, I know that that survey was quite long.
Yes.
Quite long.
Very long. We have tried to talk with AARP to see if we can shorten it a little bit. I took it myself.
It's how
It took
like
20
was
minutes.
it like 50 questions or something?
Yeah.
So I thought it would be important for the public to note that getting 152 of those responses back for a survey that was that long.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're happy to get that many responses for like a 12-question survey that's open to all of Brisbane residents. So to get that response on that long of a survey, very like with just a specific demographic is huge. So I really want to I really want to congratulate you and thank you on all of the outreach. It's really a triumph that you got so much feedback from our community, and it's not for nothing. You know, we're going to take that feedback and implement it. And so thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. And considering how expansive that survey was, we did get a lot of information, even though it takes a long time to fill out. But it also actually proved, because you had a good turnout, it also proves how important this topic is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was actually good to see the responses here in Brisbane, and that it is an important topic and that people really want to work on this. And so hopefully it will become an integral part of your community.
Yeah, no, thank you for the comments by all the council. Oh,
I just wanted to add just a couple very other brief things. If we had 10% of our population in Brisbane that had a problem, we'd be concerned. Older adults are 20% of Brisbane. And if you look at any kind of demographics for San Mateo County, that population is expected to grow significantly. So we're doing this at the right time, and we need to keep pursuing it. Thank you.
no, thank you for all the comments. And the only way you can get going is you need to have a plan.
Yeah.
It's you know, one thing, you can talk all you want, but if you want to get stuff done, you have to have a plan. And this plan is fantastic. Amazing people have worked on it. And I don't need to say anything more, but what I would love to have is Councilmember and former Mayor Karen Cunningham to come to the podium and share her thoughts and the process that she undertook to really make this happen here in Brisbane.
This was amazing, Mr. Mayor and Council. Just so everybody knows, 50% of our voters are over 50. Mm-hmm. So that's a really big point to remember. But in the back of the room here today, we have the task force that worked their proverbial butts off on this project. And would you please stand up so we can give you a round of applause?
Yeah, no, thank you.
And I'm going to embarrass two of them right now. So an extra special thanks really needs to go out to Catherine Gooding and Linda Seekins, because what they did of their own volition, they walked the streets of Brisbane and they mapped out what they thought was missing or where we could add where could we put a bench? What makes sense for this? Oh, look, if we had this here. They did this for, I don't know how long it took them, but they did a map of the entire city. And that wasn't what we asked them to do. They thought it was a great idea. It was a great idea, and we're very grateful for that. Now, Noreen and Nicole, on the other hand, they need a pay rise. Did I just say that? I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, exactly,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it was just,
Thank you very much, Karen, for saying that.
you're welcome, Jeremy. And I can say anything I want now, so it's all good. You know, when this came to us, we were really, really busy, and I was the only one who said, I'm going to take it on.
Yeah.
And then this task force just really worked so hard with Ann and Cynthia, who did an amazing job, as you can see, 92-page document. And that was not for naught. And thanks to Kevin Fryer, because he let us put his pictures in there as well. But so Catherine Gooding, Linda Seekins, Karuna Devi, Herman Rice, Trudy Davis from Park and Rec, and Julie Sims from Park and Rec were involved as well. Miyoko Nita was involved in the beginning when we were going to the AARP, listening to all of their stuff. And yes, getting 152 people to fill out a survey that took forever is no small feat in this city. So, you know, it really showed how much great work everybody here put in. Yeah, that was totally amazing. But I have an ask. I have an ask for the City Council that we kick this off because we've floated the idea. We've said benches so many times in so many venues. I have mentioned adopt a bench to a lot of people in Brisbane, and they are all over it. So I would humbly respect an answer from the council at some point in the future to put adopt a bench on an agenda to discuss how we could do that, because I think it would be a wonderful way to kick this off. And there's a lot of people in the community have already said, yeah, we'll do a bench. I can give you the names of 10 of them. We can pick up the phone now and call them. So thank you for the opportunity. Ann and Cynthia, you rock. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Karen. Thank you for the great work. All right, yeah, no, awesome. All right, so we're just adopting the action plan. No, or do we need,
We're just getting an update.
just get an update? Okay.
No action.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think we had, did we hear from the public on this item?
Well, you know, the only slip I received was from Karen Cunningham.
My apologies.
But if
Good.
there are other members of the public who would like to come up to the podium and say something, by all means, sure. Thank you, Michelle.
As I hate to admit, I'm an aging senior. I don't feel like it most days, but I really am grateful to the council and to the Park and Recs for the swimming pool. That is an amazing resource and one of the most successful senior programs that we actually have is water aerobics. And it serves both Brisbane seniors and seniors from surrounding areas. We've had as many as 35 people in class. Even in the dead of winter when it's freezing cold, we had 21 the other day. And so I know the pool is an expensive, it's an expensive thing. But if there's any way to expand getting people into water, especially seniors, and helping them make that leap, and once they start doing it, it really improves their health a great deal. And I'm so grateful to that. To me, that's one of the most important things that we do, and that you didn't raise the price a whole lot really helped, because I know a lot. We took surveys of everybody in the class of who's a senior and, where they're from and everything. So it really made a difference. And the other thing that I noticed is really missing from the plan is helping seniors with pet care. Pets are really important for seniors, but many seniors, when they get to a certain age, refuse to take on a new pet because they're worried about what happens if they pass, what's going to happen to their pet, or the expense of taking care of a pet, or maybe they won't be able to walk their dog. And I think that that is an area that is really it's like a little hole that we forgot to look at. And I know so many people where I've gone and, clipped their cat's nails or given their cats, subcutaneous fluids to help with kidney issues, or where people, they need veterinary service but they can't afford it, and so even taking care of the pool cats, I mean, so I think that's an area we really need to look at and see if we can put something in there about pet care and a lot of more comprehensive senior activities that go more across the whole population and not just the kind of group that's already involved. Thank you. And I really appreciate you looking at this issue because, aging, I'll never forget what my dad said one day. I said, Dad, why don't you go out? Dad lived here, and he'd go out on his cart and run around with his dog and see people and everything. But one day I'm like, Dad, why aren't you going out? He goes, I just don't feel like it. And I'm like, what's wrong? He goes, all my friends are dead, Michelle. And I'm like, oh. And he was talking about his best friends. And so that was a really hard thing to hear. So it's important that we encourage older adults to make new friends.
Absolutely.
And sometimes those friends are young. And somebody who's really smart told me.
God, I'll never live this down. I'm already telling you right now.
Yeah, I'll never live this down. Anybody who's over 50, over 60 needs a mentor who's under 30. And that is so true. So, Madison, thank you for being my mentor for a while.
Yeah, I
now
aged
you're too
out.
old.
I aged out. She got to replace me now.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you again. And this is a living document. So we'll be adding things to it. All these suggestions, they're going to get incorporated. And there's going to be other things that are going to come up in the future. Oh yeah, okay, let's put this in there. Let's take action on that. But this gives us such an excellent foundation for which to start. So awesome work, everybody. Okay, so now we're moving on to staff reports, city manager's report, city updates, and upcoming activities.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, I have a handful of items I'd like to report on tonight. On events, I do believe that North County Fire Authority is still accepting those who want to participate in January 25th CERT training. So we encourage folks to take a look at that. I want to acknowledge over the last month, we've been struggling a bit with the pool. Looks like it's running pretty good right now. I want to commend the team for the amount of time and effort that they put into really trying to get that working as best as they could, and appreciate the community's patience with us. There is in the upcoming STAR and other communication methods, staff is sending out a survey, and we're going to be asking residents on how they receive information from the city, what they think of the quality of the information that comes out and the like. It's really to understand how residents interact with our various communications tools and see how we can improve them. So we're looking forward to getting that feedback in the spirit of what we just discussed, in different ways of how people access information. The STAR will have literally a tear out that you can circle and send back to us. So it'll take a little more time, but we think we're going to get a lot more people involved in that.
No postage necessary type thing? You think about that, or?
We hadn't thought about that one. No, you're not to answer that one. I'm just looking around. Let's think about that one. Thank you. Yeah. I'm working to set up another coffee with the city manager, so something in the next month or so. So looking forward to seeing people there. We had been anticipating the release of CAL FIRE's updated local responsibility area fire severity zone maps any day. What we learned today was due to the fires in Southern California, CAL FIRE is delaying that. So we don't know when those will come. I'll give it 60 days is my guess. And then finally, just as a tickler, we're going to have a couple things in March that I think people are going to be pretty excited about. The first is a kickoff open house event related to what to do with the B of A site. We've tentatively scheduled that for March 8th. That should be coming out in the Star. And that's going to be part of a robust process for engagement on that issue. So that'll be our kickoff. Also working with the council on a priority setting session that will be at some point in March as well, likely on a weekend. That process is very important to both the council and the staff because it helps establish our budget.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And Jeremy, if you wouldn't mind just giving us just a quick update on the issues that we were having with the website, and
Sure.
I guess all those are cleared up now.
Yeah, thank you. That was another area of great frustration for both staff and residents alike. We believe that the problem has been solved. I'm not going to pretend that I understand the technical aspects of what was done, but we have not seen any issues since a major technical upgrade, if you will. I think they called it moving it to a different stack. Not sure what that means, but it's operating right now. Thank you for bringing that up.
All right, great, thank you. All right.
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, I just wanted to ask the city manager if you could we did get a lot of people sending us emails, correspondence about the draft EIR, the comment section, and I was wondering if you could give a brief update on what will happen from here on that draft EIR on the quarry.
Thank you.
Good
Yeah, I'm
question.
happy to. I'd like to just on the former, this week, City Council and staff received a number of emails, primarily from residents outside of the community related to the quarry EIR. It looks like one of our partners in the environmental community put out some information indicating that tonight's council meeting would be discussing it. So that's what happened. Right now, staff is going through all of the comments and determining what type of response they need as required under CEQA. I don't have an ETA on that because that process is ongoing. Typically with these types of things, you see something like 30-40% of the comments are directly related to the EAR and have a requirement for some response, but some of this can be pretty significant. So staff is working through that right now. Once that is done, those will be released, and then we'll begin the process of bringing things to the various bodies here, Planning Commission and Council. Thank you.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item N, under Mayor Council Matters, discussion of revising the city council meetings, start time and day of the week. Staff report, please.
Sure. Thank you again. I brought this item forward on my initiative to allow a discussion on both the day and the time of the council meetings. As you will see on page 194 in N, there's a list of all the cities' day and times. The city of Brisbane is the only city that begins their meeting at 7:30. All other councils start their meetings a little bit earlier. I was primarily making a recommendation here related to the time. I do think that from a accessibility and transparency standpoint, it makes sense to start the meetings a bit earlier. It does bring more people to those meetings. Staff does not have a recommendation on the day, but since we were discussing time, I thought it was important to put it on there and allow the council to discuss. Happy to answer any questions.
All righty. Council member questions. Councilmember Davis.
I was just wondering where the date, suggestion, the day of the week suggestion came from, and what what day of the week is there a particular day of the week that someone wants to propose? I think time of meetings easy to talk about, but I think day is a much bigger conversation. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably want to start with that aspect of if there's somebody that's asking for another day.
Through the chair, this was not a request from council. As stated earlier, I simply wanted to note that
if there was just because we're talking about the time,
because we're talking about
let's see if someone wants to talk about that.
Yeah, and honestly, just in thinking through it, there wasn't a compelling reason from the staff's perspective to change. I made one note in there indicating that there could be issues related to holiday weekends and the like, but you can run into that in other days as well.
We're also the only one that does Thursdays, but
Yeah.
I'm for the last what I don't know 9 years, 10 years revolved my life around Thursdays. So I'm a little bit set in my ways on Thursdays now. I think if we moved it to another day of the week, like I may just not show up. Like I just might not even realize that it is another time. I'm like so programmed.
We would call you.
Thursdays.
We would give you a call.
Yeah,
Who
like
texts you? Just
what condition I would show up in, like who knows? But I know that other county meetings like to meet on Thursdays, and that can be a challenge because then it seems like people have something going on every Thursday. So I'm sensitive to that, but I just didn't know if there was like a strong appetite for a change in a day because I feel attached to Thursdays. But
sounds good. Councilmember Mackin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no preference one way or the other, but a couple just ideas. I know PCE meetings are on Thursdays, and so there's usually 2 months out of the year you can't attend the meeting because it conflicts. I would suggest from different county subcommittees, Terry, you're on a lot of those, some feedback about difficulties with ending a county meeting and trying to make it to our city meeting on time. Also, one thing that had come up with Planning Commission and the council sharing Thursdays in this room, that has oftentimes, we've bumped the Planning Commission meetings off completely because we needed an extra special meeting. So I'm not even making the case for it. That's one positive idea for moving to Tuesdays. Or moving the Planning Commission used to be on Tuesdays and they moved to Thursdays. So that's just informational. I have no opinion one way or the other.
Yeah, no, I'm just putting it out there. Councilmember O'Connell.
So I like having the meetings on Thursdays. To me, it gives time to receive a agenda packet, have it over the weekend, and so for me, the day of the week is good for me. I wouldn't want to see it change, but if it had to be, it has to be. I would certainly say it can't be Tuesday because I have a long-standing commitment on every other Tuesday or every Tuesday during the summer.
yeah.
And also, I have other boards and committees that I serve on, and for me, Thursday works for me. Other days of the week would have issues. Wednesdays every other month would have an issue. The Mondays every 2 weeks would have an issue. So there's quite a bit of stuff that would need to be jiggered if we're changing the day. So I would say to leave the day alone.
Got it. How about you, Councilmember Kern?
I will go with whatever program is proposed.
Got it. Okay, so I think we're good with Thursdays. How about now the time? So I'm going to kick it back to you.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, if I could make one additional comment related to the time. I know this isn't often something that folks want to hear, but we have an incredibly hardworking staff. And I know that in speaking with the staff about this, it would be meaningful to move the time up a bit. For the staff that are presenting, that's a couple hours. They don't live in town. Certainly, we're working and doing other things, but there can be a lot of dead time. And as you've noticed, is it related to consent? I've already asked my staff if they have a consent item, they can do it from home, just to be respectful of the amount of time that they put into these things. So I didn't put in the staff report, but I did want to say that.
No, I appreciate that. So, Madison.
I'm fine with moving to 6:30. I think that maybe that's the earliest that I would be willing to try it out and see how that works. And then, I think we could finagle to see if we could do with closed session, just before or after. I think like before maybe is better, but it depends on how long before. I just don't know if like are we allowed to have that flexibility where maybe sometimes we do it before, sometimes we do it after. Maybe if somebody has a request, they could say, I've got something really tight beforehand. Can we do closed session after or something like that?
Absolutely. Through the chair, Tom, you can correct me. I'm not aware of any ordinance or law or otherwise that says we couldn't do closed sessions on any other day too, if that was convenient for the council.
Okay.
So,
As long as it's properly noticed.
So maybe that is like a good workaround. I would also, I mean, I stressed this to Councilmember Lentz prior to this meeting, but for me to agree to meet at 6:30, I would really like for our goal to be done by 9:30, because what I don't want to see is that we're meeting earlier, but then we're just dragging it out until 10:30 anyway. And that if we have a meeting that goes beyond 9:30, we have to vote to extend the meeting like we would if we had a meeting that went to 10:30. And so I would just hope that everyone would, if we're going to do it, let's really do it. And let's make sure we're in early and we're out earlier.
Yes, that is the intent. Terry.
Cool.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that if we really want to be inclusive and we want council members who are diverse and have day jobs, it's really important that we make it that the council meetings don't start too early for people that actually have a day job.
Yeah.
When we were starting meetings because of a closed session and I had a day job that ended at 5 o'clock and I might be in San Francisco or San Jose, it's really difficult to make it to a meeting and not be where you're changing clothes and changing your persona, basically, to put on your council face, so to speak, and be engaged in that kind of rushed manner. So I think it's really important that we don't say to the public or to any person that wants to be on the city council that they can't have a day job. I mean, I'm really lucky. I mean, I was able to work it out during, many of the decades that I had a day job while I was on the council, or while I had a day job on the council. But not everyone is so fortunate, and that we need to be very conscious of starting meetings too early for people to get home from work, have something to eat, and be prepared for the meeting. So I worry about starting it too early and taking people out of the mix that have a job that wouldn't allow them to do that.
So Terry, it would 6:30 be okay for you?
Personally, 6:30 would work for me.
Okay.
But I just worry that if we're going to have a closed session an hour before, or even have closed session afterwards when we might not be at our best.
Got it. All right. Councilmember Kern.
Good call out, Councilperson O'Connell. Up until somewhat recently, I had an office near Fisherman's Wharf. The number of times I had to text Noreen, and just tell her, I will be there. I'm literally going to be running in the door at full speed. And that was for a 6:30 meeting. So my opinion is 6:30 is fine, but we cannot do anything before that for people that have day jobs outside of the city of Brisbane.
So it could be that, I mean, everything's flexible, right? So if we have that understanding, let's say that you have a different schedule, because I know that you're working out some stuff within your career. If something happens where we need to revisit this, I think I'm totally open to doing that. I worked by the ballpark, and I would be getting home probably 5:45, 6, trying to take a shower, trying to get ready. then I started cramming crackers in my mouth. And then I'd come here. That was before for closed session. We never used to have food then. And then we had meetings that went till midnight. So then we would take a break and I would be in the break room like with a really bad headache, pounding Doritos from the vending machine. So I think also it's critical that even if we're starting at 6:30, and even though there's not a closed session before, that there is some kind of sustenance, whether it's dinner, a light dinner, or snacks or something in the break rooms for people who got here at 6:20. They can have a bite to eat, or staff that's staying late. Like, I want to acknowledge that they're spending their time, that they would rather be home with their family. And so I think that we should just get accustomed to we are all better with food, right? Like they say, you want people to show up at a meeting, have pizza. So I just think that that's all
one
other
of the
councils do that.
If I can throw in, we've had a work late city council or city hall night forever that the employees don't want to give up that day that they work late from city hall.
I thought they did.
Did they give it up?
Yeah, I think Clay readjust the schedule so that it's like you leave at 5 some days, and then
Well, we have a late Wednesday. Every Wednesday's staff's here till 6:30.
6:30. It used to be 8 is what I'm saying. It used to be 8.
It used to be 8.
So now it's 6:30. So it's a little bit of adjustment so that we can so staff could still leave at like 1 on Fridays. Right? Yeah.
All right, Councilmember Mackin.
I take to heart everything that's been said by all of you. I think considerations that Councilmember O'Connell brought up really should be taken seriously. I roll back some years, as I understand from some more old timers, the council meetings used to be at 7. They were changed to 7:30 because of the work schedule of one council member who consistently said they couldn't make it. I would propose we go with 7. If you look at the list of other cities, the vast overwhelming majority are 7 p.m. It's probably for a reason. I think that half an hour will make a difference so that somebody who's trying to come from work can not go into sheer panic and we have traffic problems. We could see how it works, see if it affects how many people attend it. We can always consider going earlier, but I think that that's maybe a good compromise. And I'll go either way. I'm not wedded to that. I just think it's worth thinking about.
Right now, we don't have anyone's work schedule who, at this point, from my understanding, would be experiencing that. I would say if this was me in my first term, I would have probably been like, oh no. But I've made adjustments in my life, and I think the rest of us kind of have that flexibility, at least at this point. But if anything changes, I think we're all sensitive to needing to make adjustment. I mean, my could change for me, too.
Exactly. And here we are tonight talking about this, right? It's about flexibility. If things change within our work schedules, we just bring it up to one another, put it back on the agenda, and if we have to make the change to a later date, let's do it. But I think what you were saying, Madison, let's give 6:30 a try. Terry, Frank, sounds like you're okay either way. So do we need to do a roll call vote or just give direction?
No, this is direction tonight. We do need to bring back, it's an ordinance. Yeah, it's in the code. So we'll bring that back at the next meeting.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Okay, going on to.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Since it's an ordinance or a code, how long before does that take effect after the ordinance goes into effect?
Unless something else is done, it's 10 days.
Okay.
It can be 10 days, rather.
Okay. That was a good question. Okay, moving on to item O, update on City Council Commission and Committee recruitment. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. I am sharing with you the recruitment update on the screen. We had a very successful recruitment period for open committee and commission seats. There were 17 open seats and we had over 20 applications.
Nice.
There are 3 discussion items that I wanted to ask the council to discuss today. One, we have a late application from Laron McNally for the Complete Streets Committee. He had applied last July and he was unable to attend his previous interview, unfortunately, because he was very ill. So he wanted to see if you would like, or if you would be able to accept his application. He just sent me a request this afternoon. So that's one thing. Second,
Okay, yeah.
given the many applications, we wanted to know what process you would like to move forward with. And thirdly, when you would like to do the interviews.
All right. If I may, so based upon this list here, we have quite a few folks who have applied. Many of the people who have applied for the particular terms are reappointments. And I just wanted to throw this out there as really just a one-time situation, not something that we would do all the time, but something that we might consider. Just looking at all the people who have put in their application for reappointment, they've done a fantastic job, very honorable job. So I'm wondering if it would be okay with the council to consider appointing them this evening. I've asked the city manager if that would be okay. He then reached out to the city attorney to verify that that would be appropriate. So then it would also reduce the amount of interviews that we would have and make the process shorter. So
I would suggest doing that for public art because there's no one else there's no one new applying. There's no competition, essentially, for lack of a better word, right? And then for planning as well. But I think that there are, other committees with quite a few applicants, and I think we should really hear everyone out before we make the final decision on who's appointed. Because things change, and there might be somebody that really impresses us, and it's not like it hasn't happened before. So that would be my suggestion. But that would take out 6 interviews.
this is true. Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I think it may send a wrong message if everyone that's an incumbent just thinks they're automatically renewed. So I would prefer that we proceed with all the new people interviews. And if we feel that perhaps there's a new person where we're not sure if we want to reappoint the existing ones, that we leave the tenured ones as a possibility to be requested to come in for an interview, where we could decide after we interview the new applicants.
I don't know. See, sometimes for me, my decision making is heavily the way that the existing committee members respond to my questions, the juxtaposition between that and those same questions that I'm asking for new applicants, for me, I have to see how they all respond to know where my interest lies.
That's a good point.
And to have it all in the moment is a little bit easier than to say, it's just, for my brain, it's kind of easier to do it at once. But I would appreciate a shorter workshop, but It's not like we haven't done this, so many times.
It also lends more to the importance of the appointment so that it's not just we're filling seats with reappointing incumbents. That's kind of the other part of it.
Yeah.
Having been someone on those committees,
Yeah.
when you had to go in for an interview, you knew it was serious. And when you were appointed, you were appreciative.
Yeah, and there's been times where I would say we've asked questions and we were surprised by answers from existing committee members, and those answers shaped our decisions for good or for bad,
Councilmember Kern?
I think, are we making an assumption that the folks that currently hold these seats are doing an acceptable, or performing at an acceptable level for the council and the staff?
I would say yes.
Okay.
But that could be an individual opinion.
Yeah,
according to
mean-
what Madison says.
Yeah. I'm just talking about, like, you're talking about this list here, right?
I'm talking about the
not some
incumbents,
kind of
yeah.
future list, but
Yeah, not a
this-
future list. I'm talking about the incumbents that currently.
I'm
hold the
not
seats.
prepared to make that statement.
Say that again?
I wouldn't make a blanket statement. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Okay.
agree to it. I would like to interview people where there's other hopefuls. I'd like to interview everyone in that group.
All right. Councilmember O'Connell?
I think that where we only have incumbents that are reapplying and no new applicants, I think that we could safely not re-interview them.
Right.
But again, it's up to the council, the group. I could go either way.
Got it. Okay, so you could go either way, whether or not it's completely full. There's no other non-incumbents applying, or it could be a combination of incumbents and new people.
No, I'm meaning that if there's just 2 people applying for planning commission that are reapplying, we wouldn't need to re-interview those 2 applicants. And I couldn't see the list and I don't remember what it said, so I'm not going off one particular group or not, but we don't have extra people other than the incumbents. I think we don't really need to interview those incumbents.
Got it.
Again, if there's other people interviewing for a seat, an open seat, I think they should be given an equal footing and an equal chance, and we should interview everyone
Yes.
in that group.
All right.
Tom has got his hand raised.
Fair enough. Oh, Tom?
Councilmember O'Connell just made the point. If the council wishes to change its practice, that's fine, but we would have to give folks notice. So I would just say it's one thing, if you want to appoint folks where there's 2 slots and the 2 people who have reapplied because they're there or them otherwise, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you have a competition for a seat, your history has been to put them all together one evening and talk to them or interview them. And if you're going to change that, I think you need to give people a heads up.
All right.
That
That
sounds
works
fair.
for everybody?
That sounds fair.
Okay, so then we've given direction then that the planning commission and the public art advisory committee, those particular applicants who are reapplying, we're going to move forward with them for another term.
Mm-hmm.
And that all the other positions, now we need to work with Ingrid to figure out the day that we will do the interviews. Did you want to do that tonight, or did you want to solicit those dates at another time?
I can poll the council members after the meeting, but however, would people prefer 2 meetings? Because it'll be about 3.5 to 4 hours. So like 2 days?
I need 2 days.
2 days.
Okay.
And sounds good. So be on the lookout for a doodle poll.
Great. Thank you, Ingrid. All right, thank you, everybody. Okay, item P, countywide assignments and subcommittee reports. Do we have any?
None from me.
None
Colleen?
here. None here.
Okay. All right. I usually try for very short PCE reports, but I actually have a little bit more to say that I haven't brought everyone up to speed. So this is going to be longer than 3 paragraphs, sorry.
That's all right. You are prepared.
I
with
am
your written
prepared.
statement, so
I'll-
that's good.
I'll be as brief as possible. So Peninsula Clean Energy, there's been a lot of work for months now on a strategic plan that's going to be adopted, and you say, what is the strategic plan? Well, PCE's been recognized as an industry leader, as a source of electricity, but it's not just electricity that PCE provides. There's all kinds of programs providing rebates, technical assistance, and that's switching over to new appliances, but also mechanical systems, big things, furnaces, water heaters, and even commercial customers, large commercial customers. The electric appliances, just noting again, they not only reduce greenhouse gas, but you've probably heard all the information about the air being healthier in your home because you're not using gas appliances. What's very new is that PCE started an in-house customer service. There were contract people that were answering the phone as PCE grew. They just didn't have the bandwidth and employees to do it. It's now gone live in-house at the end of 2024. So now if you call, you don't just get answers on billing, but anything related to electrifying your house. In addition, one of the big changes is if you want to upgrade things in your home and it's overwhelming and you go, I just don't even know how to approach this, you can call for a home upgrade in-person assessment in your house free of charge. PCE is not a contractor. They're not trying to do work for you. They're not going to charge you. It's a program to assist people because we understand how overwhelming it can be. If you're considering a heat pump HVAC or heat pump water heater, it's a complimentary evaluation. It'll help demystify the technology and the process you'd be entering into. What would it entail to make these changes with all the piping and electricity in your house and your electric panel? At the end of it, they'll come back to you with a ballpark cost. Naturally, that could differ between contractors, but you want a contractor who really knows what they're doing in this new technology. So PCE has a list of vetted contractors that they have certified, know what they're doing, have done installations, proven to PCE staff that they know how to do it cost effectively and correctly. So they'll give you the list of contractors. You can find out all this information. There's a brand new updated PCE website, which is extremely comprehensive, says, how do I find out about this? It has multiple layers and questions that is really unbelievable. You should check it out. In general, number one also that came on all of this new planning is that we've done a lot of market research and found rate affordability is number one. People say greenhouse gases is, but when it comes down to it, the polling shows rate affordability. That's it for everyone right now. So we also learned, you may already know, the Bay Area is still one of the highest electric rates in the entire country. We're more than double most of the country. Wow. And that's why PCE was formed. It's a nonprofit. It was to provide an alternative source of electricity at a better price. And just underscoring, PCE rates are still 5% less than PGE as a nonprofit, and we're working to reduce that even further. The more we get our own sources of energy, we control the pricing and are less subject to having to buy power on the open market and discounting it. So that's a big push, is to make it even cheaper. And at present, just interesting, 97% of Brisbane residents still receive electricity from Peninsula Clean Energy, and also there are commercial customers. So in terms of the entire county, the signing on as customers is still really high for PCE, but Brisbane is one of the top. That's all I have. Thank you.
That was great information, Colleen. If we haven't already done so, I think it would be wonderful to put it on the blast, that information about having the PCE folks come out and give you that evaluation.
I feel like they will write that. They didn't submit an article for the Luminary this month, but I bet that they would talk about that.
All the staff is just overwhelmed because we're trying to get this new plan all put together. There's many facets and have it go before the board in February. So they've all been swamped.
They
working
said
with
for
the
sure next
consultant.
month, so
That's-
I bet
yeah.
you that's what it's gonna
Yeah.
be. An article on that.
That would be fantastic. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to written communications. As was mentioned earlier this evening, we've received a lot of emails regarding the quarry. And so Ingrid, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us those written communications, please.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to confirm, going back to my previous item, are we okay to move forward with the late applicant?
Oh, yes, we said that was fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So now with written communication, we received communication from Tyler Higgins regarding the Guadalupe Quarry Development Project, draft EIR. Sherry Goodwin, also about the quarry. David Nelson regarding the quarry. Ramona Arachiga regarding the quarry. Michelle Salmon regarding the Guadalupe Quarry redevelopment project. Dee Perkel, Guadalupe Quarry redevelopment project. May T, urgent, protect San Bruno Mountains endangered species and ecosystem. Josh Wynick, Guadalupe Quarry redevelopment project. Candace Rose LaCroix, Guadalupe Quarry redevelopment project. Robin Mayforth, San Bruno Mountain. Stephen Rosenblum, reject the EIR. Sienna Watson, reject the EIR. Judy Borks, San Bruno Mountain, please reject the inadequate EIR. Anita Moresi, please no. Elaine Salinger, a warehouse in San Bruno Mountain. Nina Whale, Brisbane Guadalupe Quarry redevelopment project, January 2025. Barbara Williams, Save San Bruno Mountain Habitat. Marilee Robinson, no to development on San Bruno Mountain. Bonnie Lindauer, please reject the proposal for storage facility on San Bruno Mountain. Tracy Pomeroy, the quarry. Gary Roberts, Guadalupe Quarry project. Peter Schaefer, San Bruno Mountain Warehouse project. Susan Lesson, protect San Bruno Mountain. Sue Chow, please do not approve the warehouse project. And Catherine Murdoch, San Bruno Mountain.
Thank you, Ingrid. All right. Oral communications number 2. Is there anyone out here who would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda? All right, come on up, Linda.
I sent a little note to the quarry thing that they said to send it to, but I'm not listed.
I think these are written communications to the council.
This is emails like to the council.
Oh, so you should have sent it both to the council and the quarry thing.
You could have, some people did. You should have
Well,
talked
is
to your
yours
sister.
like is yours a EIR comment?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's separate.
Yeah, you sent it to the right place then.
Send it to the right place, yeah.
Thank you.
But we'll read it in the package of comments
Michelle?
that come from that.
Please.
Question along the same line. Are all of the comments that have been submitted and all of the letters that have been submitted available now for the public to look at?
Okay. We'll have someone from the council ask the question.
Okay, all right. And then, yeah, that's it.
Would staff like to answer that? How about
Thank
that?
you.
That's easier.
All right, so you want to ask that question, Madison?
Yeah, I'm just, take it as me asking that question.
Through the chair, they're not currently online. Typically, they don't go online until you've gone through a first round of review, and that's what the staff's doing right now. I don't know that, I'm speaking from a level of ignorance here. I don't know that that's been our practice in the past too, but I'll work with staff to see what's appropriate.
All right. Great, thank you. Alrighty, any other members of the public? So, thank you for attending tonight's meeting. We will adjourn at 9:23 p.m. and we will go into our special workshop in the conference room. Thank you.